What's up, guys? This is Anime Crossover. I'm back with a new episode of What If Naruto Was the Red Flash Part 39. And if you did enjoy the video, consider a like. And if you're new to my channel and like my content, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more crossover fictions. Now let's begin this new video.
Chapter 9 Earth Naruto Prime Adventure Through the Multiverse, Finale. Naruto was racing through the multiversal expressway connecting Earth 899, the Game of Thrones Earth, and Earth 2. He couldn't force his way past the tachyon barrier encircling his Earth, so returning to Earth 2 and talking things out with his parents and Wells might give him and Ronnie a chance to go through and back home. Naruto concentrated on Earth 2 as he ran through the multiverse's blue shifting tunnel. He had his katana strapped to his back and was still wearing his regular clothes over his impulse suit because he didn't get a chance to place his suit back in his ring before leaving, but he might simply leave it like this for now. When he ran, he saw glimpses of other worlds, but none that he recognized. Gideon was tracking his progress via the multiversal superhighway and using that information to update the multiversal map. Gideon was getting a better image of the greater multiverse as a result of all that data, which helped her lead him as best she could. "Keep running, Naruto, and focus on where you want to go," she said, and he did. According to Gideon's scans, they had just crossed Earth 400. Naruto wasn't sure what that world was because all he could see was deep space, but he thought he saw the Starship Enterprise. Home. Naruto closed his eyes and felt his heart rate slow. He became more in tune with his powers, the Speed Force, allowing his body to guide him. His speed increased, and he quickly blasted through Earth's 300 to 100 and headed ever lower. That's when he opened his eyes, and whatever it was, whether it was his heart, his mind, the Speed Force, or something else, he pushed it into overdrive, causing a particular breach in the multiverse superhighway. A breach led him to a very special location. The Earth New Prime. This Earth was substantially different from the other planets in the multiverse. Unlike those who were assigned numbers, this one was assigned a Greek alphabet identification. Why? Because it was a rare Earth in the multiverse that housed a perfect version of something or someone. All other versions in the multiverse that were comparable to this one sprang from it. What prime version of the planet was this? It was Naruto Prime's residence. One of the largest ninja settlements among the other nations can be found in the Land of Fire. Konoha, also known as the village hidden in the leaves, was one of the world's largest and most formidable shinobi communities. The village of Hokage Mountain, deep within the forest at the base of Hokage Mountain, had many years of peace and stability under the watchful guardianship of its Hokage and shinobi. The fourth Hokage dedicated his life to seal away an ancient nine-tailed fox demon and save his people from it. The fox has been sealed in someone since then, and that someone was a 13-year-old boy. A blur portal appeared and a blur ran out before the portal instantly closed. Naruto appeared as the blur came to a halt. He was dressed normally over his impulse suit, carrying his pack and his Valyrian steel, vibranium reverse blade katana. He took a few big breaths before surveying his surroundings. He appeared to be in a lovely woodland. "Whoa. Gideon, where am I?" Naruto inquired as Gideon's head emerged from his watch. "You are on Earth New Prime, a world distinct from others in the multiverse because this is where the prime version of you resides," Gideon explained, making him do a double take. "You mean the version from which all other versions of me come?" Naruto inquired. "Yes, this world is vastly different from the others you've encountered. Here, humans are born with a naturally occurring energy system in their body known as chakra and are able to use this energy in various ways. This world is similar to that of ancient Japan and is a world where ninja are the primary force for peacekeeping," Gideon explained. "A ninja world? Awesome. How do you know this?" Naruto inquired. "As the location of your prime version of yourself, your future self made sure to document this world's location but never visited it," Gideon said. "I guess I am now, or will be, depending on the tense I need to use, and I wonder what the prime version of me is like," Naruto pondered as he decided to go for a walk. Gideon, do you have any suggestions for where I should go?" "From what my sensors tell me, the village where your prime self resides should be exactly 20 miles to your east," Gideon said. "However, before you depart, I would like to issue a word of caution." "Sure. What's wrong, Gideon?" he asked. "Because this is the world where your prime self resides, your future self felt it would be best to take a more hands-off approach when it came to interacting with your prime self. Interacting with the other residents of this Earth may not cause any significant change, but interfering in the path of your prime self may alter his destiny," Gideon explained. "Oh, that makes sense. Did he?" Whatever, are there rules? Naruto inquired, his tenses somewhat confused because this was technically him, or it may be him. Your future self noted that he wanted to avoid any kind of change to the path that this Earth and your prime self would take, as well as any serious interference with local government and institutions, as well as the use of any kind of future tech to avoid questions and the developmental progress of this Earth, Gideon explained. Right. Okay, like avoiding something that could kickstart the scientific age of this Earth or doing what I did with Daenerys in the Game of Thrones Earth. Makes sense. Right. Okay, like avoiding something that could kickstart the scientific age of this Earth or doing what I did with Daenerys in the Game of Thrones Earth. Makes sense. But wouldn't my super speed also be a red flag? No, while your future self never got around to visiting this Earth, he did do an in-depth analysis of it and its people. The chakra they have in their bodies allows the shinobi of this Earth to perform superhuman feats that could be seen as superpowers on other Earths. Elemental manipulation, summoning of animals, and increasing physical attributes are among them, so your super speed wouldn't draw serious attention. Gideon explained. Your future self also noted that any mention of the multiverse or being a doppelganger of this Earth's Naruto should be avoided. This Earth is still relatively simple in its understanding of science and the universe, but it is concerned that the use of chakra in the wrong hands could open Pandora's box with that knowledge. Right. Naruto agreed with a nod. In essence, I would avoid repeating your usual routine when you arrive on a new Earth, Gideon stated bluntly, which pretty much covered everything his future self said not to do. Don't try to change things, don't do any scientific philanthropic work, avoid using his repulsor gauntlets, and don't mention he was from another universe. Got it. Thanks, Gideon. He turned off her holographic link and double-checked that his earphone was still in before supersonicking towards the nearest settlement. If his prime version was present, he wanted to see him. If not, he may at least get some food before departing. When he got close to the settlement, he skidded to a halt in the trees and stepped out onto the main road, where he joined the throng of visitors and traders coming and departing. He followed them to the village's main gate, which was enormous. Massive walls surrounded what appeared to be less of a settlement and more of an ancient feudal city. Visitors to the city, he observed, required to meet with the two ninja at the main gate. He was about to jump in line and do the same thing when he noticed that they needed to check in with identification or some sort of paperwork in order to enter. He was at a disadvantage because he didn't have anything that would allow him to pass, so he needed to find another way in. The enormous clunk and clatter of boxes piqued his interest, and he noticed a massive ox-drawn wagon. That works too, he said as he dashed over to the cart, clinging onto the bars beneath to keep himself covered by the enormous wheels. The trader chatted with the ninja at the gates, and they let him in after inspecting the crates to confirm what he was bringing. The trader drove his cart across town till he arrived at the market. Naruto rolled out from under the cart and stood up in the middle of the street, having learned nothing. As Naruto strolled past his wagon and pet the oxen on the heads, the trader was talking with the market owner. "Thank you, guys," he said as he walked away, rubbing their heads. This gave him his first glimpse of the village he was in, and it was breathtaking. As children played and adults went about their business, food stands and retailers lined the street. Wow, this looks like something out of an Akira Kurosawa movie. Everyone on the street gave the stranger passing through their village weird looks. He wasn't from the town based on how he was dressed, and the katana on his back suggested he was a roaming samurai, although he wasn't dressed like one. And the strange thing was that he looked familiar. Is that the nine-tailed brat? No, he's much too old. Is it the fourth Hokage? Don't be ridiculous, he's been dead for years. Then who in the hell is he? Naruto gave weird stares to the people who were murmuring at him. Can I assist you in any way? Naruto continued walking through the village, taking in the sights. He saw markets and stores, a flower shop, a store that sold medicine, another that sold weapons, and then he passed a large compound with dogs. How did he know? The smell and the barking. They smell delicious. Naruto's lips began to moisten in the classic anime style, and he wiped the drool away. That's weird. How may I assist you, young man? The spouse inquired. Can I have 200 dumplings? Naruto said. 200? Are you certain you can afford it? Can you afford it? Can you eat a lot? The wife inquired, eliciting a chuckle from Naruto. I have a quick metabolism. As for payment, Naruto unlocked his pack and drew out a gold coin from one of the compartments. Will this suffice? Naruto tossed the penny into the air, and the husband caught it to discover it was real gold, worth far more than the dumplings, and both were stunned. If that'll cover it, can I get 200 dumplings? Half fried, half steamed, Naruto requested. 200 dumplings are on their way. We are running a special on a spicy chili oil, the husband exclaimed as he and his wife began to work. Sounds good to me, Naruto said as the married couple prepared his meal. After a while, Naruto strolled away with his arms full of dumpling baskets, leaving the husband and wife smiling after a successful day. They made more today than they had in years, the husband and wife exclaimed. Many thanks, Naruto replied, walking away with all the food to find a place to sit and eat. He eventually found himself a nice park bench to sit on and scarfed down the 200 dumplings with ease. This may not be his universe, but those dumplings are some of the best he's had in years. Ah. That hit the spot, Naruto patted himself on the stomach, having just polished off all that food with ease. He sat down for a little longer and took his bottle out of his bag to drink some water before he put all the empty containers in the trash and continued exploring the village. The place was massive, but he eventually found what looked like a library, so he walked in to do some reading and research. The most interesting thing he was learning about was chakra, a form of life energy native to the people of this earth in the multiverse. It shared a lot of similarities to the concept of ki or kai on his earth, and he was sure he saw an earth that looked like Dragon Ball Z when he was running through the multiverse. Produced in something known as chakra coils within the body similar to nerve pathways that surrounded each chakra-producing organ, spiritual and physical energy is molded together and circulated through the chakra pathway system and then could be harnessed. Everyone on the planet had chakra, with some having more or less than others depending on genetics and training. The ninja of this world were trained on how to harness chakra for their duties. The concept was intriguing as the possibilities were limitless but sort of out of reach for Naruto. Gideon informed him that his body didn't have the chakra coils or chakra pathway system that the people of this earth had, so that was a disappointment. Then again, he had the Speed Force, hand-to-hand combat training, advanced technology, and a superhero suit, so it was a wash. He was walking out of the library after finishing his research when he heard the ground rumble and heard what sounded like a stampede. He looked to his right and went wide-eyed as he saw an actual bull stampede chasing after a youngster in an orange jumpsuit, and they were closing in rapidly. Oh my god. Naruto backed up into the library and got a good look at the kid in front. His super speed allowed him to see what was going on, and to his surprise, he saw his prime self. He was a kid on this earth, at least at this point in time. Not much older than say 13. He was wearing blue sandals, a thigh holster, a blue headband with a silver headpiece, and an orange and blue jumpsuit. Why is it that this always happens to me? Shadow clone jutsu, yelled Kid Naruto, fleeing the bulls chasing him through the village. Everyone else on the street hurried inside or for cover as Kid Naruto and the bulls made their way through the city. Alright guys, scatter all these stampeding bulls for me. Naruto watched his prime self make a hand seal, and 24 replicas of himself materialized, running beside him. Yeah. The duplicates and the actual Naruto split up at a junction, with a segment of the crowd following them, and Naruto walked out of the library to witness them fleeing. The jumpsuit, not the bulls. I used to have one just like that when I was a youngster. God. I'm glad I outgrew that. Naruto grumbled before flashing with lightning and super raced after his prime self, just to make sure he didn't kill himself. He watched in amusement as Prime Naruto's plan to split up failed as the bull in charge called on more bulls to add to the ever-growing stampede. Naruto and his clones ran like hell to some kind of stadium in the distance, where 2 shinobi stood guard and saw the large mob of Narutos rushing them. What is it? What about Naruto Uzumaki? It's now up to you. Kid Naruto exclaimed as he and his clones pushed, shoved, and argued their way through the door, giving the lead bull enough time to charge. Speedster Naruto saw bulls run over the Naruto clones and they turned into smoke, but they kept running and tried to keep charging but got stuck. The 2 shinobi by the gate were knocked out, so Naruto unsheathed his katana and super sped forward. Several blurs of lightning later and all the bulls were on the ground groaning in pain as Naruto sheathed his katana. The lead bull rose to his feet, snorted angrily, and prepared to charge, only for Naruto to be struck by lightning. The unexpected show forced it to retreat in fright and calm down. When he realized it wasn't going to charge, he halted his little lightning show and strolled up to give it a loving pat on the head. I'm sorry about that, but it's all over now. I'm not sure why you were following the youngster, but knowing him, or myself at that age, I probably deserved it. Naruto agreed. Now, go home. The bulls mooed and then left the area one by one. He turned around and noticed two shinobi stretched out on the ground near the arena's gate, asleep but beginning to awaken. He moved past them and into the arena, realizing this was his chance. His prime self was on his way inside to check what was going on. He entered the arena seating area after walking up 4 flights of stairs, but seeing no seats available and deciding to stay out of sight, he lingered at the entryway. It still provided him with a fair overview of what was going on. He noticed 7 children in the arena or on this planet, shinobi, with an adult shinobi, most likely the proctor or official. He noticed someone seated in a designated spot and put on his goggles and used the zoom function to get a better look. It was the village's Hokage. Essentially, the village's leader and strongest shinobi. He was elderly, but on this planet, it couldn't signify anything. With age came wisdom, maturity, and skill proficiency. He was soon joined by Kage from the Sand Village and got up to address everyone. Welcome everyone, and please accept our heartfelt gratitude for visiting the village hidden in the leaves for this year's Chunin selection. We've reached the final round of competition between the 8 applicants who made it through the preliminary rounds. We request that no leaves be taken until all of the matches have been finished. Now, everyone have fun. The announcement was made by the Hokage, and there was some applauding and clapping in response. I think I can slip out and no one will notice, Naruto thought to himself as he utilized his goggles to get a better look at the Chunin exam participants. His prime self was present, as was his comrade Shikamaru's prime self. It was interesting to see him so young, and he wondered if this Shikamaru had the same attitude and demeanor as his. Shikamaru was one of his best college pals and a genius. Not the speedster, metahuman smart of Naruto, but a normal human super clever with an IQ in the 200s. Shikamaru was a chess and shogi champion who was intelligent yet indolent. If you asked someone to give you the definition of lazy, it would most likely include an image of Shikamaru laying on the ground while cloud watching. Many things in life irritate or worry him, as he frequently refers to Naruto, but he was a good buddy and someone dependable when driven or pushed. It also helped that he could outthink anyone in a matter of seconds. Shikamaru, on the other hand, used his intelligence for good, and the last he heard, he had joined the FBI. When I return, I should be able to catch up with Shikamaru and the others. It's been too long. Shino, another of his college mates, was also in the group. Quiet, but a loyal buddy and, after a few beers, a true life of the party, but typically quite reticent, which was just how he was. He was fascinated with bugs, and the last he heard, Shino was working on his doctorate in entomology. He then noticed Temari, Konkuro, and Gaara. They were obviously much younger than the models he was familiar with, yet there was something odd about them. This prime Gaara appeared emotionally dead on the inside, as if he was about to snap and murder someone. Oh no, Gaara. What happened to you over here? He murmured as he witnessed 5 of the contestants go, leaving only Prime Naruto and Prime Neji. His prime version versus the prime version of his college sweetheart's cousin, who smacked him in the face when things with Hinata didn't work out. Hey, Hinata, look, these seats are free. Oh, okay, thanks. I believe this will be an interesting match. He heard and saw Kiba and Hinata's prime selves sit in the front row. 2 more of his college mates have arrived. One was his ex-college love, while the other was the guy she ended up dating after college. So strange. Hello, Sakura. I realize you're concerned about Sasuke, but come on. Please don't be such a jerk. Aren't you going to cheer Naruto on? You're exactly right. That sounds more like it. Not that the poor runt stands a chance against Neji. He's not really that bad. Are you serious? Is it really that bad? Is that all you've got? When he turned his head, he beheld the prime versions of Sakura and Ino. A full-fledged college reunion. In a way. And because Ino mentioned Sasuke, the prime version had to be the same condescending, gloomy, emo fool that he couldn't stand. He was constantly curious about what happened to him. He vanished their junior year, and no one has heard from him since. Who would have thought that little squirt would live so long? Yeah. He's been a very fortunate child thus far, but his good fortune is going to run out. He's not going to make it through this one. Yeah, it's going to hurt. He has no chance against a member of the Hyuga clan. Naruto, in his prime, glanced down at the field. In this matchup, he was clearly the underdog, and Neji was a prodigy. Everyone thought Naruto couldn't win, but if his prime self was where the rest of the Narutos came from and his attitude was anything like his own, he wouldn't let that stop him, and he certainly wouldn't give up without a fight. You've got this, kid. As he saw his prime self raise his fist and aim it at Neji, Naruto mumbled. "Are we going to stand here all day talking? Let's get started. Show me your stuff." As the wind howled, Kid Naruto yelled. "Alright, let the first match begin," the proctor yelled. Prime Naruto began by tossing 3 kunai before charging directly at Neji. "You moron. A direct assault will never work," Kiba yelled back, but he was unfazed. Neji easily parried his fist and shoved him aside, but little Naruto just kept attacking. He unleashed a flurry of punches and then a kick that was deflected, but he rebounded and came at Neji with a flying kick. He launched a flying punch, but Neji deflected it with a palm strike to the chest. When Neji went in for a straight attack at Kid Naruto's right shoulder but missed as he slid away, there was a noticeable dispersion of blue light, which he could only assume was chakra. Naruto watched with interest as his specs analyzed the fight and detected a distinct energy signature emanating from Neji. His eyes were opaque, and the veins around his eyelids were engorged, but there was a reason for this. She predicted that Neji's eyes could perceive the flow of chakra in Kid Naruto's body and that the dispersion of blue light was a chakra strike based on Gideon's scans. Naruto remembered reading in the library that the Hyuga clan was famous for a unique Kekkei Genkei, or bloodline genetic feature that was exclusively related to chakra or a jutsu. Whatever that eye thing was had to be it. "Do you get it now? You're not going to be able to beat me," Neji brags. "Hey. Get down to business. All I was doing was checking you out," Kid Naruto smirked as he rose to his feet. "Okay, now that we're warmed up, we can get started." Naruto laughed as he heard his boasting and confidence. "That was definitely me when I was that age." When he saw Kid Naruto link his fingers into a hand seal, he admitted. "Shadow clone jutsu," says the narrator. 4 identical clones of Kid Naruto materialized around him in clouds of smoke. They were all armed with kunai and ready to fight. "Hey, never ever, don't ever, I mean, whenever. Count me out," says the narrator. The 4 clones charged at Neji, engaging him in hand-to-hand battle. Despite the numerical deficit, Neji easily ducked and dodged all of their attacks. He twirled through the air, kicking and elbowing 2 clones before effortlessly blocking 2 clones' rear guard assaults and landing 2 chakra palm strikes on them. He seemed to have eyeballs at the back of his skull. Those eyes weren't the way they were only for show. There appeared to be further conversation between the two until Naruto summoned more clones and assaulted Neji. Kid Naruto attacked with ferocity and emotion, whilst Neji was more stoic and precise. What a contrast in styles. Kid Naruto had some hand-to-hand combat experience, but his attacks were more raw. Neji was far more exact, and his fighting demonstrated a high level of dedication and expertise. He dispatched clone after clone without allowing any of them to approach him. Neji immediately went past them all and hit the one in the back with a direct jab to the heart, believing it was the genuine article. Some of the clones, including the one Neji had just struck, disintegrated into smoke, indicating that he had been fooled. While he was distracted, the real Naruto and a clone charged at him from behind and punched him in the face, only for a chakra barrier to halt the attack. Neji then spun in a circle, and a gigantic dome of chakra encased his body, forming an energy barrier that knocked Naruto and the clone back. "Interesting," Naruto mumbled, noting how the chakra had cut out the ground Neji was standing on and established a complete 360-degree dome of protection around him. Naruto's goggles had recorded everything and were evaluating it. Kid Naruto summoned additional clones and struck once more, only for Neji to respond with the same resistance. It easily knocked them all back. Gideon presented some data on what had recently occurred. According to what she was able to scan, Neji appears to unleash an intense focused burst of chakra from his chakra points. Then, by rapidly spinning his body, he accumulates enough energy to construct that 360-degree barrier. On paper, it appears to be pretty basic, yet it is frequently the simplest of concepts that bring the biggest joy. That 360-degree barrier of chakra was the ideal defense, and when combined with the obvious benefits of the ocular Kekkei Genkei, Neji was dangerous. Naruto began to devise his own modified method of employing the technique with his speed or the speed force. That's when Neji took an unusual stance and began striking Kid Naruto with chakra strikes all over his body, most likely targeting his chakra spots. He was running at breakneck speed, which was nothing compared to his speed, but he was clearly someone dangerous. Naruto's goggles evaluated what had occurred, and Neji attacked the chakra points in Kid Naruto's body, interrupting the chakra flow. It was impressive that he was still conscious. Neji appeared to be speaking to Naruto, most likely boasting about his triumph. "Come on, kid. Get up." Naruto encouraged him to keep going. Everyone thought the fight was ended, but to their surprise, Naruto came back to his feet. Neji removed his headband to reveal a strange marking on his forehead and seemed to explain something while also claiming victory. He returned his headband and went away. "Wait." Kid Naruto sprang up and clutched his chest in agony. His breathing was laborious, and he was bruised all over, yet he remained upright. "Do not walk away from me. I'm not finished yet. I don't give up and I never break my word. That's my nindo, my ninja technique." "Ha. Those are words I've heard before." Neji made a remark. "All this destiny nonsense. If you truly believe it, why are you the one walking away?" Naruto scolded him. "You arrogant little brat. Why should I waste my time explaining it to you? We are all born with a destiny, and fighting it is foolish. You have no idea what it's like to be branded with a mark that distinguishes you, a mark that can never be erased." Neji yelled angrily, but Kid Naruto simply stared him down. "Oh, yeah. I know what that's like. Well, who cares? Man, you think you've got problems? I've got news for you, Neji, you're not the only special one around here. Did you ever think Hinata might be suffering as much as you are? It's not her fault that her father was born before yours, but you resent her for it. You disrespect her even when she's trying so hard to improve herself. I'm going to prove to you that you're wrong about a lot of things, starting right now." Kid Naruto paused for a bit before making a hand sign and attempting to summon chakra. Everyone seemed to believe it was pointless, and Naruto wondered what his prime self was up to. This kind of victory would require a miracle. That's when he realized. "Why fight a hopeless battle trying to defy your destiny?" Neji mused. "Because people said I was a failure, I'm going to prove them wrong. Ha!" A sudden sense of dread, a heaviness in the air, and the hair on the back of his neck standing up. Naruto felt goosebumps on his arms and a shudder down his spine that appeared out of nowhere. What's the cause for this? His prime version has just played his trump card. Kid Naruto kept shouting and summoned a tremendous chakra from somewhere. Pebbles floated around his body, and the wind blew, before red spirals of pure energy encircled him, repairing his injuries at an astonishing rate. What the hell? Naruto zoomed in with his goggles, trying to figure out what was going on. "Gideon, what's going on?" "I'm not sure, but I'm suddenly picking up an enormous amount of energy coming from Prime Naruto, and it appears to be coming deep within his body," she explained. Naruto watched as a true tidal wave of red chakra energy flooded child Naruto's body like an inferno on his scans. Soon, the red chakra energy swirled together, forming the image of a snarling, threatening, monstrous red fox, whether it was his imagination or not. Geez. Naruto yanked off his specs as a reflex to something so terrible flashing into his vision so swiftly. He and the others of the arena were astonished by the incredible power child Naruto was producing. The red spirals of chakra energy blasted up a lot of dirt and wind like a hurricane, surrounding Naruto before being absorbed into his body and giving him a crimson chakra aura. Kid Naruto clenched his fist and vanished in a blur. Everyone had lost sight of him, except Naruto, who could see him move to the flank after his pace had grown dramatically. He launched some shuriken at him, and Neji utilized his rotation before hurling some shuriken at him, but Naruto escaped them with his enhanced speed and attacked. They threw kunai at each other before fighting in the air before Naruto charged. His feet ripped up the ground, and he exuded a tremendous energy. "It may be the Hyuga way to cave into destiny. It's not mine. If you believe fighting is futile, don't. Just stand there and take it. I'll change the Hyuga clan's way, after I become Hokage." Kid Naruto and Neji battled with their combined chakra forces, resulting in a massive explosion of dirt and smoke that actually shook the arena. When the fog cleared, 2 impact craters with smoke billowing from the earth were seen. Neji was the first to crawl out, albeit with difficulty, and to his feet. He walked over to Naruto, who was motionless and unconscious in his impact crater. "Sorry, but this is reality. You're a failure. This match is over," Neji said as the earth in front of him collapsed and something spilled out. Rahh. Kid Naruto leapt out of the dirt like a torpedo and caught Neji in the chin with an uppercut that knocked him 20 feet into the air and back. Neji was immobile, and Kid Naruto was panting furiously. The Naruto in the crater emitted smoke, revealing a hole carved into the ground. He used the clone as bait and waited for Neji to get close. Even when he was getting his ass kicked, he never stopped fighting, never lost faith in himself. Guess that's something we both share because we both aren't content with following the path destiny has laid out for us. Naruto smiled. This kid was indeed his best version. If this was only him as a child, he knew he'd be a force to be reckoned with when he grew up. The winner is Naruto Uzumaki, said the proctor, as the audience exploded in cheers and acclaim. Kid Naruto ate it all up and still had energy for his adoring fans despite the hard fight. Naruto smiled and clapped along with the rest of the audience. He saw now what distinguished this Naruto from the others. You never give up, no matter what happens or how difficult things become. Whatever anyone says, you keep battling, and you have the power to change your fate. Way to go, Naruto. While the next bout was being readied, some medics arrived to take Neji away for treatment, and little Naruto joined the other shinobi. Naruto observed him conversing with Shikamaru, and there was still talk about his match in the crowd of onlookers. That's when Naruto recognized there was going to be a problem, and it was because he looked just like his prime version. He was older, to be sure, but they bore too much likeness, and he was aware that it would attract a lot of unwanted attention. That wouldn't normally be a problem, but given that this was a shinobi village, it could raise undue worry and questions about who he was, which he couldn't risk. It was time to put on a mask. He flew away and dashed into the hamlet to gather the items he needed. He had to hunt and sprint across the entire hamlet because he had no idea where he was going, but he eventually came to a halt at the river. Nobody was around, but if they were, they would have seen Naruto moving about at breakneck speed at the river, or, at the very least, his head. When he came to a halt, he plunged his head in the river, and when he brought it up, he became a blur before lowering his head back down under the river, but this time there was some kind of black residue that washed away. He shook his head quickly, drying it off in seconds before applying some kind of gel to his hair and some kind of cream to his face. He finished by looking down into the water to get a better look at himself. Despite the fact that the water was reflected and he was aware that he was gazing at a reflection of himself, Naruto couldn't help but glance twice. His naturally spiky pale blonde hair was straightened, combed down, and black-colored. His whisker birthmarks have also vanished. He actually did look like a new person, which was the whole goal, but it was startling. 1. Geez. He turned his head to check that his hair was covered and that there was nothing wrong with his appearance. If Linda and the others could see me now, they'd say how funny I look. Gideon informed him, I think you look rather nice. I have to disagree with you here, Gideon, but thank you for the compliment, he answered. Naruto wasn't very fashion-aware, but he had created a respectable personal style. One thing he never truly changed about himself was his hairdo. There was once when he was a child, but it was cut short by his parents. To summarize, he looked terrible and maintained his hair spiky after that. He wouldn't do it again unless he wanted to conceal his identity, but hopefully a mask would suffice in those cases. He shaved and dashed back to the stadium. Arriving at the same location as before, he witnessed the fight between Temari and Shikamaru, or at least the conclusion of it. Shikamaru and Temari stood across from each other, a shadow joining them. That was strange, and Naruto was intrigued, until he noticed the two walk over to the proctor and raise their hands. Shikamaru made the decision to forfeit the match at that point. Shikamaru mumbled, massaging the back of his neck, man. I'm beat. Many people in the crowd commented on Shikamaru's decision to forfeit, although his creativity, tactical awareness, and innovative thinking during the match were far superior to a ninja his age. Old reliable, Shikamaru. Smart and dependable but lazy as can be. Naruto murmured, although based on what he was hearing from the crowd, especially the more experienced, Shikamaru had some really nice attributes that they loved. His prime self, on the other hand, had a different reaction and actually jumped over the railing from the observation deck to face him. And that's probably what I would do if I were that age. After the match, there was a lot of talk about the following match between Sasuke Uchiha and Gaara. From the discussions he could overhear, it was evident that many were eager to see Sasuke fight. Something about being the last member of the Uchiha clan and traveling long distances to watch him battle. Naruto was able to study up some history in the library and discovered that the Uchiha clan was a notorious clan. It had a lengthy history in Konoha and a Kekkei Genkei named the Sharingan, similar to the Hyuga clan. And because Sasuke was the sole Uchiha still alive, everyone was eager to see him fight. His Sasuke was similar in that his family was well known in certain circles, primarily military circles. His family controlled a large private military corporation, and Sasuke was the heir apparent after his older brother Itachi died in a vehicle accident, explosion years earlier. It was intriguing to see how the universe distorted histories and people to make them similar yet distinct. There would be a 10-minute break before the following match, and if Sasuke did not come by then, he would be disqualified. People were nervous, and Naruto was astonished that the proctor did not immediately disqualify him. Arriving late for this type of event appears to be an automatic disqualification. I guess being famous had its advantages. The 10 minutes were eventually up, so the proctor raised his hand and spoke out. "Alright, the time limit has expired, so I'm calling this match." When a little tornado of leaves dissipated in the middle of the arena, two figures appeared. The older had spiky white hair, a leaf headband covering his left eye, and a face mask covering his nose and mouth, while the younger had black hair, wore all black, and looked every bit the emo youngster. "Sorry for the delay. You wouldn't believe the traffic," the man smirked. "And you are?" Proctor inquired. "My name is Sasuke Uchiha," Sasuke said. The crowd burst in applause at their arrival, with Naruto being the only one who did nothing. He was leaning against a wall, suffering déjà vu, when he saw Sasuke appear, looking precisely how he recalled seeing in college, albeit younger. The same dark, brooding jerk with a massive superiority complex disguising familial troubles and conflict. He also recognized the man accompanying Sasuke. It was Kakashi Hatake, or, to be more precise, his prime version. Kakashi was a former U.S. Marine Staff Sergeant, military engineer who worked briefly at Star Labs. He recalls seeing him or hanging out with his father when he was younger. His father acted as a mentor to Kakashi, nurturing his talents and encouraging him to pursue a good chance at DARPA. He hadn't seen him in a while, but he'd heard he was doing well. As the bout began, Kid Naruto and Shikamaru returned to the stands and joined Kakashi and the others. Gaara's look of bloodlust worried him. He couldn't reconcile the reality that his closest friend's prime doppelganger could be so frightening. It reminded him of his time under Orochimaru's influence, which reminded him that if he met this world's Orochimaru, he'd punch him in the face with a Mach punch. As sand began to float out of the gourd on his back, he watched Gaara hold his head in pain. I'm guessing this Earth Prime's chakra skills were comparable to his Earth's metahuman talents. As Sasuke threw two shuriken, Gaara appeared to calm down, only for the sand to shelter him. The sand then changed into a copy of himself, transforming into a sand clone before blasting toward Sasuke. Sasuke leapt, and the two exchanged kunai before engaging in close battle. He delivered a straight blow to Gaara's face, only to be blocked by the sand. That's when Sasuke materialized out of nowhere and reappeared directly behind Gaara, ready to deliver a straight punch. Naruto admitted, impressive speed. He could see Sasuke moving as clearly as day, unlike everyone else in the ring. He was going extremely quickly, but Naruto's eyes and brain were still able to detect his speed, and he guessed that Sasuke was moving at least several hundred miles per hour, most likely with the help of his chakra. Given how much faster Naruto has gotten, that was his early starting phase speed, but he had the speed force. While Sasuke continued to strike, he observed Gaara get up with some fractures in his face, wearing some kind of subdermal armor as his sand came up to defend him. He used his quickness to get past his defenses and kick him in the chest. Sasuke then raced around Gaara in a circle, looking for an opportunity, before closing in on him and hitting a knee to the gut. Gaara and Sasuke were both panting profusely after their brief encounter. Gaara from the beating, and Sasuke from all of his stamina. But speed is only useful if you have the stamina and endurance to back it up. Gaara clasped his hands together, forming a big dome of sand over his torso. Sasuke attempted to rush him in order to prevent the sand shield from closing, but he was too late. He pounded the sand shield, but his fist did not penetrate. The sand shields stacked over one another, increasing the density to the point where it was as dense as stone, keeping Gaara totally shielded. A sand eye formed over the dome to keep an eye on Sasuke as he planned his next move. When Naruto heard his prime self try to convince Kakashi that Gaara was dangerous and Sasuke was about to die, he wondered what was going on. When he looked over, he noticed Kankuro and Temari have strange expressions of severe anxiety and worry. Gaara was safe, but it appeared that something horrible was about to happen. Something doesn't feel right. Naruto acknowledged as Sasuke attempted to break through the sand shield. He tried to find an opening with his Sharingan, but every time he drew close, sand spikes appeared to keep him back. As he undid the straps on his left arm and vaulted onto the arena walls for some distance in height, Sasuke didn't seem too concerned. He made a few hand gestures before clenching his left hand with his right and concentrating. He witnessed energy spark from Sasuke's left palm at that moment. Now that's something I can get behind. He donned his goggles and had Gideon keep an eye on Sasuke as he dashed down the side of the arena, his left palm practically clutching a concentrated accumulation of lightning. While running, his lightning made a sound similar to birds chirping. Gideon examined the energy and noticed that whatever Sasuke was doing, he was moving at breakneck speed and concentrating a high concentration of lightning in his hand. The high concentration of electricity was creating a sound similar to birds chirping. Moving at fast speeds while holding lightning was risky and fatal. Chidori! Sasuke yelled, blasting through Gaara's sand shield with his lightning hand, penetrating it. Now that's something I'm totally stealing, Naruto acknowledged as the entire arena became silent in anticipation. Ah! Blood! It's my blood! Gaara shrieked, bleeding and terrified, as Sasuke growled in anguish. He charged his Chidori again, and the lightning explosion freed his hand from whatever was holding it. He leapt back, bringing with him a huge sandarm. What the hell is that? Naruto exclaimed in surprise as he noticed Sasuke clutching his arm in pain. Whatever sandarm Gaara created retracted back into the shield, and whatever inside made Sasuke freeze in terror, and he wasn't alone. The hair on the back of Naruto's neck sprang up and he got chills, much like when Naruto was a kid and summoned that red chakra. Gaara's sand shield disappeared, and he was seen gripping his left arm, which was bleeding at the shoulder. He was wheezing and had a concerned expression on his face. When Naruto spotted a feather fall down in front of him, Gideon informed him, "Naruto, I'm detecting an odd energy signature surrounding the arena." He looked around and noticed feathers falling all over the place as everyone in the arena fell asleep one by one. "Gideon, what's going on?" Naruto inquired. "I'm not sure, but I'm detecting an unknown energy signature that is putting the people in the arena into an induced state. It's likely a chakra technique. I believe we've stumbled onto an attack on your prime self's home village," Gideon hinted when there was an explosion at the Hokage and Kage's private viewing box. "I knew something wasn't right. We just got ourselves into a fight," Naruto grumbled, cracking his neck and knuckles. He wasn't allowed to fight or intervene, but he couldn't just stand by as his prime self's hometown was attacked. "Gideon, I'm aware of your rules and the warnings my future self gave you, but I think I'm about to break one of them." "I figured. Just remember to be discreet and avoid using your advanced technology," Gideon cautioned. "Got it," Naruto said before speeding away from his position. Lord Hokage, Might Guy and Kakashi raced over to assist him as numerous Anbu Black Ops shinobi rushed by. "Leave it to me," screamed the Anbu Black Ops, but the Hokage had been kidnapped by the Kage and was stuck inside some type of barrier they couldn't get through. "That's a ninjutsu barrier," Might Guy explained. "They outwitted the Anbu Black Ops, and the Anbu were supposed to be the best," Kakashi said as he and Guy ran down the stairs as a solitary Anbu Black Ops shinobi blocked their path. "Why are you here? Lord Hokage's in danger," Guy reminded him as he made a hand motion. Then, in the middle of the arena, 3 camouflaged citizens leapt over to the Anbu Black Ops shinobi, showing themselves to be shinobi from the hidden sound village. "What a bother," Kakashi exclaimed. "An enemy disguised as an Anbu Black Ops, so he did the genjutsu," Guy explained. "Yes, there's no mistake," Kakashi replied as he observed Sasuke race after Gaara and his brothers while their sensei Baki held off the proctor of the Chunin exam. "Sasuke, what exactly are you doing?" When Guy noticed something in the barrier, he stated, "We've been careless. Kakashi, look, there's something in the barrier." Kakashi turned around and recognized the man who was holding the Hokage captive. "Orochimaru," he yelled angrily. 2 sound ninja jumped into the air to attack Sakura, but Kakashi intercepted them and killed them both with kunai. "Sakura, just stay there while I reduce the enemy count." At first, things appeared to be fairly even until more sand and sound ninja arrived to assist. Guy blocked and parried the strikes from a sound shinobi before punching him in the gut and then elbowing him in the head, while Kakashi disarmed another and slashed him across the neck. "Nice work, but I'm concerned about Lord Hokage," Guy said Kakashi. "That's for the Anbu Black Ops. We have enough to deal with here. Besides, Lord Hokage isn't just ordinary slacker," Kakashi comforted him. "Yeah, but keep that in mind, Guy. He is known as the Hokage. He'll be okay." When 2 sound ninja jumped at him, Kakashi reminded him. When he saw a flash of lightning, he prepared his kunai. To his surprise, it wasn't a jutsu but a man sprinting around with lightning enveloping him and flickering around his body as if he generated it. The man moved at breakneck speed and punched both sound ninja in the face before hurling them into a wall. He immediately went through Kakashi and over to Guy, punching one of the sound ninjas out of the arena and onto the field below. He spun around and hook kicked the second in the face before spinning into a leg sweep that tripped up the third and finishing him with an elbow drop to the face. Guy leapt and landed a triple spin kick on 3 more sound ninja when a fourth tried to rush him from the side, only for Naruto to speed over and hit him in the stomach with a front kick, sending him crashing into a wall. I apologize for intruding, but it appeared that you guys could use some assistance. Naruto muttered this while sidestepping a sound ninja kunai and trapping his arm before elbowing him in the nose, kneeing him in the gut, and breaking his arm at the elbow. Naruto threw the ninja at Guy, who landed an uppercut that knocked him into the ceiling, and the ninja yelled in anguish. Guy then grabbed a leaping ninja's leg and flung him into the path of Naruto, who landed a sidekick square to his neck. "Who exactly are you?" Guy inquired as the two sat side by side. He was grateful for the help, and seeing the stranger tackle numerous sound ninja was a positive indication, but he had never seen him before, and right now, in the heat of an attack, was the worst possible time. "Traveling mercenary Menma Hideo is at your service." Naruto offered him a modest nod, naming himself after a manga he read on his home planet. "A gifted former ninja and swordsman at your disposal." "Mercenary, huh?" Guy asked as he blocked a sound ninja's assaults before knocking him back with a jumping spinning back kick. "Yeah." As he backpedaled, Naruto ducked and dodged the kunai attacks of 2 sound ninja with ease. He grabbed one of the ninja's arms and dragged him into the path of a kunai cut from the second. Naruto then elbowed him in the back of the neck, knocking him unconscious, before hurling the body at the second ninja as a distraction. Naruto took him out with a flying elbow strike to the face after he was forced back from the weight. "I came for the Chunin exams, but when everything went wrong, I decided to assist. I have a code, and I'm not a fan of these jerks. I'm not comfortable with sneaking up on a village like this." "Right." Guy kicked another sound ninja in the stomach and backflipped through the air, while Naruto ran forward and punched the ninja in the face. "I understand that the circumstances are less than ideal, so how about we deal with them and then talk?" Naruto offered as the two sat next to each other. "That sounds wonderful to me. As long as you keep up." When 3 sound ninja launched shurikens at them, Guy said. Guy prepared to avoid, but Naruto simply stepped in front of him and snatched them out of the air in the blink of an eye before flinging them back. The 3 sound ninjas were struck in the arms and legs and collapsed to the ground. "I can do that." On the left, Naruto yelled as he deflected a kunai stab to the back of the skull and threw his assailant to the ground. "Got it." Guy charged forward and punched a sound ninja who was attempting to strike Naruto against a wall. "So, fast," the ninja spoke up. "Not just fast, but also powerful." Guy continued with his punch and really sent the ninja through the wall, allowing him to escape. Then Kakashi jumped down next to Naruto, Sakura, and Shikamaru. "I'll explain the mission now. Go through that opening as soon as I do. First, locate and apprehend Sasuke. Then locate a safe place to wait for further directions." Kakashi gave the order. Sakura grabbed Naruto and they left, leaving Shikamaru behind and having to be dragged out by Kakashi's dog summon. Will they be okay with themselves? Guy was perplexed. They'll be fine. Pakun will guard them, so long as they don't take it too far. When numerous sound ninja approached him and Guy, Naruto raced by at super speed and knocked them back, Kakashi added. They were launched into the air and smashed all over the place. Sand and Sound Ninja joined the traitor, who was dressed in Konoha Anbu Black Ops gear. None of them assaulted because they were caught off guard by the unexpected approach of a stranger. Someone who didn't have a Konoha headband but was fighting alongside them and had already dispatched several Sound Ninja with his bare hands and exhibited tremendous speed. They suspected he was from the hidden cloud hamlet because of the crimson and white lightning that appeared around his body, but he had no such identifying markings, thus he was an unknown. Interesting. And who could you possibly be? The masked Anbu Black Ops shouted this while flanked by 24 reinforcements. Someone who isn't particularly fond of what you idiots are doing here. As Kakashi and Guy approached, Naruto remarked, cracking his knuckles and neck slightly. Who's your friend, Guy? Kakashi inquired. Not entirely sure, but he's on our side, Guy informed him. Menma Hideo, traveling mercenary, at your service. Naruto formally introduced himself. Kakashi examined him and didn't recognize him, which was a positive sign. Maybe Naruto's improvised disguise changed his appearance enough that he didn't look too much like his prime version. I came here for the Chunin exams, good food, and good company, only to find myself in the middle of an invasion. Just my bad luck. And you have decided to help us? Kakashi inquired. I have an honor code that I follow, which includes defending those in need, and I'm not a fan of sly tactics like launching an invasion in the middle of a community, putting innocent people at danger. Naruto responded, which satisfied Kakashi and Guy. Their instincts told them he was telling the truth, and the fact that they saw him fighting the sound ninja suggested he wasn't there to help them. I'm sure you have more questions, so let's save that for after we deal with these. Fair enough. Guy cracked his knuckles as Kakashi prepared his kunai and the sound and sand ninja drew out their kunai. 3 versus 20. Those are pretty bad odds. Guy made the observation as Naruto reached up and unsheathed his katana. Yes. Dot for them. Naruto remarked before the trio clashed violently with the sand and sound ninja. XXXXX line break Konoha village was in the midst of an attack from the sand and sound village, with the battle primarily focused in the region around the Chunin examinations and on the edges of the village, when the invading army broke the village walls. Due to the heavy resistance from the Konoha shinobi, they hadn't made it inside the village's interior yet. Because of an unexpected component that came into play, some of the toughest fighting was taking place in the arena. Naruto easily blocked and parried 2 sound ninjas' kunai blows, punches, and kicks at the same time. They were both proficient in the shinobi techniques and possessed chakra, but Naruto had the greater speed and was more than capable of keeping up with both of them. He parried and disarmed one of the sound ninja before hitting him in the throat and then kicking him in the stomach just in time to intercept the other ninja's kunai. Naruto deflected it to the side, elbowing the ninja in the face, kneeing him in the gut, and then hitting him in the back with his sword. The ninja screamed in anguish from the blow, which most likely broke a few bones, before being slashed across the face with the sword. He collapsed to the ground, his nose smashed and some teeth knocked out of his mouth. The other sound ninja stood up and performed some rapid hand seals before sending a scythe of wind at Naruto. Naruto simply accelerated out of the way and charged at the sound ninja, slamming him in the chest with a push kick. When combined with his speed, it was powerful enough to send him smashing into the arena's wall. Kakashi revealed his Sharingan, suggesting that he wasn't going to leave anything to chance with the invasion. He punched a sand shinobi in the face and blocked a sound shinobi's kunai before shoving him back and landing a jumping spinning hook kick to the face. He then kunai'd him in the spine before launching multiple shuriken that skewered another. He backflipped to avoid some thrown shuriken before making a few fast hand gestures, taking a deep breath, and firing little bursts of fire from his mouth. They flew through the air, and while some enemy ninja managed to avoid them, there were 2 who were not so fortunate. When they were hit, the fire engulfed their bodies, and they either survived with severe burns before passing out or were killed. Kakashi stabbed a sand ninja across the heart, sidestepped a kick, and slashed a 3rd sand ninja across the chest before dodging and slashing a 4th sand ninja across the chest. Guy dodged and parried various kicks and punches before elbowing his assailant in the chest, kneeing him in the chest, and then flying through the air with a backfist to the face. He dodged a kunai lunge from behind, grabbed his attacker's arm, and threw him into the air before jumping into a split kick and knocking out 2 sound ninja, while a 3rd rushed him from behind. Guy simply whirled around in midair and smacked the ninja's skull into the ground. He used a backfist to shove another ninja out of the way before landing a triple spin kick that knocked out numerous more ninja. Guy backflipped in midair and drop-kicked a sand ninja in the face before reuniting with Kakashi. It simply does not make sense. I'm surprised that not just the sound ninja but even the sand jonin would attempt to invade. Guy brought this up. Well, consider it. That's why it's called war. When he saw 6 sound ninja encircle them, Kakashi was reminded. Get yourself ready, Guy. Bring it on, says one. Guy was preparing to fight when a blast of wind rushed past them. They watched scarlet and white lightning flash about them, and all they could hear were gasps, groans, and anguish screams. The lightning then bolted away, revealing the 6 sound ninja stretched out on the ground and asleep. The lightning blur continued to dash around the arena, taking out any sand or sound shinobi before they could react. The blur was moving too quickly, and they were taken off guard by what was going on. The other Konoha shinobi were perplexed, but quickly concluded that whatever the lightning blur was, it was on their side. When the traitor clad in Anbu black operations gear observed what was going on, He opted to flee, utilizing Shunshin no Jutsu to vanish before being attacked himself. When the Ambu Black Operations guy vanished, Naruto came to a halt. "Damn it, he escaped," Naruto remarked as Kakashi and Guy knelt beside him. "I apologize for that. He got away before I could hit him." "Nonetheless, excellent work. That must be all of them," Guy stated this. "At least for the time being," said Kakashi. He turned to face their unidentified visitor, prepared to speak with him and obtain some answers, when they heard a tremendous explosion in the distance. "That isn't good. Things don't appear to be over yet." Naruto dashed out of the arena and towards the village to assist. "Damn it. Let's get started." Everyone dispersed when Kakashi yelled. Deep within the Konoha village, Konoha shinobi were engaged in a hard battle with sand and sound shinobi, who had breached the defensive walls and were moving into the hamlet. They were able to break the barricade thanks to 3 massive snake summons from Orochimaru. The massive snakes slithered through the wall, killing any Konoha shinobi who tried to stop them. They were hardy, resilient, and deadly. Ibiki Morino, a Konoha intelligence ninja, was leading a defensive unit against the invasion army, but their efforts to hold them at bay were not going well. The snake summons were tearing through buildings and repelling their most powerful attacks. "We need to keep them back," exclaimed Ibiki. "Where's our backup?" As the 3 snake summons hissed and tore into buildings, another shinobi inquired. "Summon ninja art. Jutsu to bring down the house." A massive toad with dual katanas on its back arrived out of nowhere on one of the snakes, crushing it under its massive weight. A spiky white-haired man wore sandals, a gray top and pants, and a scarlet coat that blew in the wind on the big toad's head. "Ibiki, it's been a long time. What have they been feeding you, my dear? You used to be such a squirt." "Master Jiraiya." Ibiki mumbled in surprise. "Jiraiya? Are you one of the Sannin?" As Jiraiya struck a pose and began dancing about, his compatriot inquired in surprise. "Okay, you little chicks. Your beady little eyes should be fully open. When it comes to dealing with bizarre otherworldly freaks and creatures, no one does it better than a strange hermit ninja. Thank heavens Jiraiya is here. Now, unless you want to irritate this frog, you'll never bother us again." Jiraiya became serious as the other 2 snake summons glared at him menacingly. "So, that pain in the neck, Orochimaru, has finally started." Ibiki leapt up and landed beside him. "Where's the Hokage?" "The battle arena." Ibiki responded. "I see." Jiraiya responded. "Don't die on us, old man." That's then they heard a thunderclap and a flash of crimson and white lightning pierced the body of one of the 2 snake summons that remained. It screamed in agony as blood spilled from the enormous hole in its body before collapsing and disappearing in a spray of smoke. Jiraiya sensed an opening and summoned his massive toad summon, which slashed the remaining snake summon in half with one of its swords. He stared in the distance after it vanished and saw the crimson and white lightning racing across the hamlet at great speed, but it wasn't acting like a lightning bolt. It seemed to rush around the village as if it had its own mind. Another thing he noticed was that the invading sand and sound ninja were being attacked by lightning blur, so whatever it wasn't on their side. Naruto rushed across the village at breakneck speed, luckily moving faster than the assaulting sand and sound ninja. They were taken aback by his arrival because they had no understanding what was going on. They'd never seen that kind of speed emerge so rapidly before, unless it was in the land of clouds, but they'd never seen the unusual hue of lightning. Many sound and sand ninja were taken off surprise, allowing Naruto to quickly dispatch them. He slashed them with his sword, breaking bones, and while it was horrible, it worked. He quickly dispatched 100 sand and sound ninja before coming to a halt on a street and heaping them up against a fence. When he turned around and saw a swarm of shuriken charging towards him, he just used his sword to stop them all. He was a blur of activity, blocking and deflecting every shuriken and kunai hurled his way, causing them all to fall to the ground with bent or broken edges. 2 sand ninja tried an ill-advised frontal charge on him. He waited till the last possible second before becoming a blur in their eyes. Naruto simply stepped to the side, out of their way, before slashing them all over with his sword. When he was finished, they collapsed to the ground, and he watched the other sand ninja make hand gestures before hurling enormous gusts of wind at him. Thinking swiftly on his feet, he twisted around his left arm and created a wind funnel, canceling out their wind jutsu. Ninja art. Needle-held jutsu, says one. A hail of pointed, white-colored missiles showered down on the sand and sound ninja, striking them like darts. Many people were pin-cushioned, but Naruto was not one of them. Someone leapt down and landed in front of him at that moment. His ninja attire was perplexing, but Naruto knew him immediately because of his long white hair. It was Jiraiya in his prime, and clearly he wasn't someone to deal with, but if his Earth's Jiraiya was any indication, this one was a gigantic pervert as well. "Who are you?" Naruto inquired, forced to play the ignorant foreigner. "I was about to ask you the same question," Jiraiya remarked, his tone slightly casual but with a note of danger and edge to it. He was definitely wary of his presence. "I'm a friend, so you can relax there, and I'm here to help. I just had this conversation with two Konoha ninja in the Chunin exams arena. One had spiky gray hair and his headband was covering his left eye, while the other had a bowl cut and was wearing a green jumpsuit," Naruto explained, and Jiraiya relaxed a little when he mentioned Kakashi and Guy. "My name is Menma Hideo, and I'm a traveling mercenary, writer of wrongdoing, all-around helpful person, and self-proclaimed heartthrob." "Really?" Jiraiya thought that was amusing. "I may have mentioned it in the wrong place, but I came to Konoha for the Chunin exams, expecting to find traveling merchants, festivals, food, and possibly some nice company, only to find myself in the middle of a war. Figured I should help however I could. The arena is secure, but the same can't be said for the rest of this place." Naruto sidestepped a kunai lunge at his back, grabbed his attacker's arm and broke it at the— "Suffice to say, my mood dipped when the sound and sand ninja began attacking, but I'm still conscious, so I felt I should help." "Just out of the goodness of your own heart?" Jiraiya thought as he kicked the sound ninja across the face and knocked him out. "It's kind of my life story. I'm guessing you saw just how fast I was able to run, and yes, it was me. I'm kind of a unique circumstance and I'd be more than happy to tell you my life story, but perhaps we could do that over some food when we're not in the middle of a war zone," Naruto said. Jiraiya told him, "Fair enough, but I've got my eye on you. I'm flattered, but I'm not into men, and if I were, I think I could outperform an old guy like you." Naruto laughed before speeding away. "What the— that's not what I meant. Plenty of people would think I'm a catch, and I'm not old," Jiraiya yelled angrily as he tried to keep up with the Shunshin no Jutsu. Naruto, Jiraiya, and the Konoha ninja continued to fight the sand and sound ninja. With the three huge snake summons removed, the invading forces lost impetus and things began to stagnate as the Konoha ninja fought back and went on the offensive. Naruto used his super speed to protect Konoha ninja from rogue shurikens, kunai, or to pull them out of the way of falling debris and ninjutsu strikes. His speed gave him an advantage in this scenario, and given how much more deadly all of the chakra talents appeared to be compared to the regular threats he encountered in the other worlds, he made sure to be more offensively minded. He super sped up a 4-story building and sucker punched a sand shinobi off the roof, falling down onto the roof of a neighboring 3-story building when a loud explosion could be heard in the distance, and the ground shook as well. Naruto regained his footing and noticed a massive creature appear in the distance. It was sandy brown in color, with curse markings in black and blue on its face, torso, and tail. With a wide, concave mouth and long tail, it stood over 100 meters tall and bore just a passing resemblance to a raccoon or a tanuki. One thing he did notice was that its arm and color scheme were identical to the sand arm he saw emerge during Sasuke and Gaara's Chunin exam fight. Gaara must have done something, for suddenly a massive creature has appeared. He rapidly ducked and sidestepped several kunai, rolled onto the ground, and took down the 3 sound ninja who tried to kill him. They were flung back, and he quickly incapacitated another ninja with a devastating sword slash to the knee after blocking a kunai to the throat. He resumed his superhuman speed and sprinted down the side of a building, dispatching sand and sound ninjas in fast succession. He came to a halt and unleashed a lightning bolt, startling the 6 sound ninja who were too slow to move out of the way. Before he could act, he heard another explosion and noticed a big toad materialize in the forest alongside the giant sand monster. It was red, with a blue happy vest and a massive blade holstered across his back. It also had a massive smoking pipe in its mouth, which was conspicuous. "Okay, giant frog with a pipe in its mouth, I have officially seen everything," he said as he rapidly swung around and stabbed another sand ninja across the face with his sword. As Naruto continued to fight and assist the Konoha ninja against the invading sound and sand ninja, the tide of the battle shifted in their favor, with more and more reinforcements arriving to assist. He kneed one sound ninja in the stomach and rolled over him, causing him to slump over in pain, before striking him across the back with his sword. Several sound and sand ninja surrounded him on the street and in nearby buildings before launching dozens, if not hundreds, of shuriken and kunai at simultaneously, attempting to capture Naruto before he could defend himself or flee. Realistically, Naruto could easily block or escape all of the shuriken and kunai, but he chose to attempt something else instead. He began whirling around at breakneck speed in an attempt to replicate the rotation technique utilized by Neji against his prime doppelganger. He didn't have chakra, but he did have speed, lightning, and the speed force, so while he couldn't exactly mimic what Neji accomplished, he could do something similar. He whirled around at supersonic speeds exceeding Mach 10 and used it to create a wind barrier. Along with the wind barrier, he also possessed the lightning he created, so his version of rotation protection was a wind and electrical barrier. While it did not provide the same level of protection as chakra, it was adequate. The wind barrier made the shuriken and kunai harmlessly bounce off, and the lightning field he created also assisted. It generated a small electrical field in tandem with the wind barrier, so any shuriken or kunai that were not stopped by the wind were stopped by the electrical field, much like magnets. The sand and sound ninjas looked in astonishment as lightning bolts erupted from the swirling, racing blur. They instantly realized their mistake and fled, only to be confronted by Konoha ninja. When the spinning blur came to a halt, Naruto wobbled around and sought to regain his footing. Okay, there's one drawback. Naruto placed his hands over his head and took a few long breaths as he fought the need to puke his food. Fortunately, it only lasted a few seconds and he was alright. That's then he heard another explosion and saw the enormous red toad with the smoking pipe transform into a massive red-furred, nine-tailed fox with a frightening glare. Naruto knew the fox from when he had Gideon examine what was wrong with his prime self, and there was certainly a link. Okay, now I've seen everything. The rest of Konoha had arranged a counterattack against the forces of the Sound and Sand Village, who were going on the offensive. 6 Sound and Sand ninja were sprinting down a village street when a hail of shuriken struck, killing 3 of them while the others managed to block and defend themselves. When they looked up, they spotted 5 genuine Konoha Anbu Black Ops ninja waiting for them. Not another step. You are done here, exclaimed the lead Anbu captain before they vanished, dispatching the Sound and Sand ninja with ease. Hiyashi Hyuga, the chief of the Hyuga clan, single-handedly beat back and killed many Sand ninja near the arena. The Sand ninja were arrogant and underestimated the Hyuga clan head's skill, especially with his Byakugan active and employing his clan's battle style. Another group tried to surround him from all angles to get an advantage. What the hell are you all waiting for? He's just one man, exclaimed the leader, prompting Hiyashi to swirl around. Rotation. Hiyashi whirled around, and the chakra barrier he created spread to 20 feet, knocking all the Sand ninja back before he stopped moving. The Leaf Village has a strong spirit that you should remember. Shikaku Nara, Shikamaru's father, had 4 Sand ninja caught with his Shadow Paralysis Jutsu before dispatching them with the Shadow Strangle Jutsu elsewhere in the hamlet. Choza Akamichi, Choji's father, used his expansion jutsu to grow in size until he was at least 150 feet tall and began utilizing his height and gigantic bow staff to defeat Sand and Sound ninja. Inoichi Yamanaka, Ino's father and the Yamanaka clan's leader, utilized his mind destruction jutsu to turn Sand ninja against one another and force them to kill each other. The trio was a lethal mix, and the invaders knew it. The Inuzuka clan and their ninja hounds also participated in the struggle, and Naruto sensed that the Sand and Sound ninja would be unable to seize the town. They had the advantage of launching a surprise attack in the middle of the village and then using the snake summons to breach the village defenses, but it appeared that they lacked ninja with exceptional skill, techniques, and ninjutsu. And Naruto reasoned that his being there was probably beneficial as well. When he witnessed the Konoha ninja launch an offensive counterattack against their invaders, he stepped back and let them handle it. He understood how dumb it sounded to follow his future self's rules for this world given that he had already assisted in preventing the invasion, but now that the invaders' momentum had tapered down, backing off felt like a smart idea so he didn't do any more damage. Thankfully, his suspicions were correct, as things appeared to be improving for the Konoha hamlet. The big sandy-colored creature began to crack and collapse until it vanished, as did the giant toad. That's when he noticed the purple barrier by the arena vanish and was able to glimpse what appeared to be a massive ingrown forest. He caught glances of a group of people departing but couldn't tell who they were. The invasion appeared to be over at that point. The Sound hamlet sustained significant casualties, and when the barrier at the arena collapsed, they retreated. The Sand Village forces were severely reduced, having lost the majority of their invasion force, and were unable to counter the Konoha defenders. The Sand Ninja began to retreat after seeing the Sound Ninja leave. Konoha had won the day, but it was a bittersweet win. Konoha sustained tremendous losses in its defenses, and word quickly spread that the greatest loss was the death of the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. The following day, the entire town was in sadness, and today was the third Hokage's funeral, which reflected in the tone. Everyone in the town would be attending the funeral, so there was a solemn atmosphere throughout the village. Even though the village's fortifications were seriously damaged and some of their ninja were gone, there were enough to monitor the perimeter in case something went wrong. Everyone was dressed in black and assembled at the Hokage mansion beneath Hokage Mountain, or around the region if there wasn't enough space. A portrait of the third Hokage was set on an altar in the midst of the other Konoha shinobi who died during the invasion. When the rain began to fall, it seemed as if the skies themselves were in grief for the loss. Kaharu Utatane and Hamaru Mitokado, two senior members of the Konoha Council and former teammates of the third Hokage, stood near the altar. They were familiar with him and had a relationship with him that others did not. "We've gathered here to remember and honor not only the third Hokage, but all those who sacrificed themselves in this battle so that our village could survive," Hamaru remarked as everyone lowered their heads in respect. Village residents lay white flowers on the altar one by one in memory of those who died. Iruka Amino consoled the third Hokage's grandson, Konohamaru, as Prime Naruto looked on in sadness, paying back the emotional help he received when his parents died. He'd never forget that day or what the third Hokage said to him. The will of fire and the profound tie shared by everyone in Konoha. He made it a point to transmit that lesson to everyone he taught in the future so that the third Hokage's dream would go on. Naruto stood on the roof of a building in the distance, watching the funeral. He kept his distance, and given what was going on, he believed it was best if he kept his distance and allowed everyone mourn in peace. Naruto didn't know the man, yet he attended his funeral. He kept an eye on everything and utilized his goggles to gain a better view. He could tell his prime self was devastated by the loss but was doing everything he could to hide it. Soon, the rain stopped and the clouds parted, allowing the sun to shine through the gloom, as if a new light was shining down on the settlement. Even though the hamlet had experienced a significant loss, there was new optimism. The funeral was over quickly, and everyone dispersed. Naruto could tell that his prime self was still in mourning, but a brief talk with one of the older ninja appeared to cheer him up. Even though his future self advised him to avoid touch with his prime self, perhaps some passing words of encouragement might be beneficial. After all, he knew what he was going through, so a few words of comfort may go a long way. He heard footsteps approaching from behind him, and soon someone was standing right next to him. "I tried to look for you here but didn't see you," Naruto stated, turning to face Jiraiya. "I'm so sorry for your loss." Jiraiya responded with a nod as they watched the last of the mourners depart the burial. Jiraiya said, "Naruto, I didn't think you'd still be here." Naruto nodded. To be honest, Naruto acknowledged, "Neither did I." Jiraiya inquired, "So, why are you still here?" "I'm not sure. I guess since I helped fight the invasion, I wanted to see how things were going and make sure they were okay. I'm the kind of person who starts something and sees it through to the end," Naruto replied honestly, which was true. Jiraiya could see it, but he still wanted to know more. "The fact that you're here talking to me and I'm not currently being hogtied indicates that you've decided to talk things out. Thank you for that, by the way, and if you have some time, I'm open to talking. Preferably over some alcohol if possible. I know a place." "Then lead the way," Jiraiya said as they walked a few blocks to an inn. It was many blocks from the Hokage mountain in the hamlet's interior, which meant it was in a region of the community that had not been damaged by the invasion. Naruto was able to rent a room at the inn rather than sleeping on the street or camping in the surrounding woods. Naruto and Jiraiya took a booth in the back of the inn's modest restaurant per bar on the ground floor. Jiraiya tried to flirt with the waitress who came over to take their order, but she didn't seem to fall for his overtures. Furthermore, he wasn't as charming as he believed he was. "2 bottles of sake and some gyoza, please," Naruto said, and the waitress nodded before departing to take the order. "So, what exactly do you want to know?" "How about we start with where you're from?" Jiraiya said. "I'm from Takumi village in the land of rivers," Naruto replied. He thought up an alternate answer because he couldn't tell Jiraiya he was from another planet. His visit to the Konoha library provided him with information on the continent and its surroundings. Takumi Town was a town famed for its residents and their skills in creating weaponry, many of which were sold to various ninja villages around the world, and the Land of Rivers was a country bordering between the lands of wind and the lands of fire. But, given the circumstances, it was a reasonably good answer because it was an area that a big ninja village would have at least general knowledge of, but it didn't have any significant military presence or a ninja village that would be cause for alarm, as if he said he was from the Land of Clouds. Really? I had no idea Takumi village trained ninja, Jiraiya observed. Well, they don't because I'm not a ninja. My story's a little stranger than most, so bear with me. My parents were smiths and scientists back in Takumi village. They were great people, but they passed away in an accident and it was just me. They taught me everything I know, including paying for lessons from a local samurai, which is how I know to fight. And they also made me my sword. Naruto removed his sword from his back and handed it to Jiraiya so he could see. It was also a good faith gesture to freely hand over a firearm. Jiraiya examined it with his own eyes, and while he wasn't a weapon master, he could tell the blade was well made, and the fact that it was a katana provided some credibility to Naruto's fabricated claim about being trained by a samurai. This is a good sword, but I doubt a samurai could teach you how to run so fast that you create lightning, Jiraiya said as the waitress returned with 2 bottles of sake, 2 glasses, and a plate of hot gyoza. No, that wasn't him. That was the result of something that started with being struck by lightning and being put to sleep for 9 months, Naruto explained, piqued Jiraiya's interest. Naruto then began telling Jiraiya about his altered origin story and his travels. With his super smart intellect and its ability to digest information a million times faster than a normal human, he was able to quickly concoct a modified version of his origin tale that Jiraiya would believe. He preserved the bit about being struck by lightning and being in a coma for 9 months, as well as enlisting the assistance of some friends to figure out what happened. Given the technological and scientific limits of this planet, Naruto was able to devise a more world-appropriate justification for what he could do. He said that the lightning bolt combined with his chakra, forming a miniature lightning network within his body, and that he could now manufacture lightning. It's what led him to run so fast and create the lightning trail when he ran, but it also stopped him from using his chakra for ninjutsu, taijutsu, or genjutsu like a ninja could. He tried his limitations after learning what had happened to him to determine what he could and could not do. It's how he learned to toss the lightning he created and rotate his arms so quickly that he created wind funnels. He continued on his own road of self-discovery after learning what he could do and how to control his new talents, helping people along the way and generating some fine money for himself. He changed some of the events of his interdimensional adventures for his stories, but it kept Jiraiya entertained, and when he mentioned the gorgeous women he encountered along the way, he was sucked in. Jiraiya wasn't sure if it was the sake or the wonderful stories, but something about the guy made him feel at ease. Similar to when he was with Naruto. Whether it was because of things beyond their comprehension or because of ties that transcended the multiverse, the kinship that Naruto and Jiraiya shared was one that couldn't be faked. XXXXX line break. The Konoha village was being rebuilt, with some outside assistants assisting in the recovery effort. The villagers' citizens and non-shinobi were hard at work repairing what had been destroyed, while the ninja assisted as well. While the senior and more advanced ninja were out on missions to bring in money for the community or guard their boundaries, the low-level genin assisted in small-scale activities. Kid Naruto and Konohamaru reunited near the Hokage mansion and Hokage mountain to remember. They both overlooked the third Hokage. There's nothing wrong with mourning the loss of someone you care about. When Kid Naruto and Konohamaru looked up, they noticed someone they didn't recognize standing next to them. The katana slung across his back was one thing they did notice. He had combed black hair and was dressed unusually, but no Konoha headband was visible. Huh? Konohamaru asked, puzzled. Are you talking directly to us? Is there anyone else here? Inquired the visitor. You two miss him, don't you? You both had a close relationship with the Hokage. It's okay to miss him. There's nothing wrong with crying or feeling sad about someone you care about no longer being around. Everyone goes through it, and I can speak from experience that it's difficult to move on. So, you've lost people, too? Kid Naruto inquired, and the stranger nodded. I have. It was difficult at first. It's like a wave washing over you again and again, knocking you down no matter how hard you try to fight it. It's why you can't bury your sorrow and grief. You have to face it, but, in a way, facing it can make it all better, the stranger explained. What exactly do you mean? Konohamaru inquired. Well, it can't be all sorrow, can it? The bad things you feel also remind you of the cherished memories you have of your loved one. Sooner or later bad things will happen and we'll all be gone one day. No matter how strong, smart, or powerful we are, eventually we'll be gone and everyone else will have to continue on without us. It's an unfortunate part of life, but the point is that they were here at all in the first place. Konohamaru repressed a sob before pulling himself together. The same goes for Kid Naruto. They heard 2 coin flips and saw something coming at them, so they caught it. Konohamaru and Kid Naruto each caught a gold coin. I heard you're both doing good work for the village, and good work should be rewarded. Get yourselves some food and remember what I said. Take care. The stranger said goodbye and walked away. Hey, wait. Who are you? Exclaimed Kid Naruto, and the man came to a halt before turning his head back to give them a comforting smile. Just a friend passing through. Take care you two, and don't forget. He'll never be forgotten as long as you two remember everything he taught you. Kid Naruto and Konohamaru sniffled a little and wiped away their tears before adopting smiles. Right, bye. And thanks again for the money. Kid Naruto and Konohamaru waved goodbye, and the stranger waved back. Naruto smiled as he walked away from the encounter, a good feeling growing through his stomach. He whispered to himself, he's going to be fine. Naruto proceeded through the village and saw that, despite having just been attacked and losing many of their proud shinobi, including the Hokage, they were fast to rebuild and work together for a brighter tomorrow. It was heartening to see that they could rebuild and that everyone was banding together. After explaining himself to Jiraiya, which resulted in his not being thrown in jail and not being viewed as an adversary, and giving his prime self a few words of encouragement, he was ready to depart. A part of him wished he could stay, but given that his future self stated that too much intervention on this prime Earth could impact the fate of his prime doppelganger, departing now was a wise decision. He didn't want to tamper with it, so leaving now, while his impact on his life was minimal, was the wisest course of action. He has already assisted in repelling an invasion by fighting hundreds of sound and sand ninja and even taking out one of those massive snake summons. His prime self was still alive, and maybe the chat they just had provided him with some sound advice. Staying any longer risks him being entangled in larger concerns, which may have an impact on larger events. A part of him wanted to stay, but his rational side won out and it was time to depart. Naruto Uzumaki, Prime, was on his path to greatness. Naruto made his way through the hamlet to the main gate. Part of it was being repaired, and Konoha shinobi were on high alert as they checked on visitors entering the hamlet. Naruto approached the gate and noticed Jiraiya leaning against the check-in booth. He stood up and approached him. "Didn't think you'd come find me as I leave? What's the occasion?" Naruto inquired. "I happened to be in the area, and I spotted some lovely women I could use as inspiration for my next book when I saw you walking towards the gate, so I wanted to see what was going on," Jiraiya explained. "Well, I'm leaving now. Things are settled here, so it's time to go," Naruto said. "Do I have the right to leave?" "You are. A part of me thinks you're dangerous, but I can tell you're not an enemy," Jiraiya acknowledged as he extended his hand. "Take good care of yourself." Naruto was taken aback by his behavior but responded by shaking his hand. "You, too, old man." Jiraiya stated, "I'm not old. I'm not sure about that. Your hair color and wrinkles would argue otherwise," Naruto joked before speeding away. Jiraiya simply huffed in irritation. "I swear that guy reminds me of the kid," he mumbled as he walked towards the village to recruit Naruto to accompany him on a mission to find his friend when he came to a halt. Could he be? No, that's absurd. Jiraiya shook off the odd idea and went into the village to find Kid Naruto. According to what he's heard, he'd be at Ichiraku Ramen. Naruto dashed out from the settlement, preparing for his next journey. During the run, he vibrated his head at breakneck speed, which had the beneficial consequence of removing the makeup he was wearing and the dye in his hair, as well as unflattening it, restoring him to his usual appearance. He then removed his regular clothes and placed them in his pack, leaving him in his impulse suit. He put on his mask, pulled his goggles down over his eyes, and focused before a breach appeared. He jumped through, and the door closed behind him. The transversal superhighway, his adventure on his prime self's Earth, may not have been as exciting or mind-blowing as his other visits, but what he learned was useful. If that was the prime version of all Narutos in the multiverse, Naruto should have realized where he obtained his best attributes. His drive, determination, passion, and concern for people no matter what were among his distinguishing characteristics, and he now realized that he was this way for a purpose. His prime self was still young, but what he saw revealed that despite what others said about him, he had immense potential. That was demonstrated by his triumph versus Neji. Despite everyone's reservations about his ability or chances, Naruto managed to win in an unorthodox and unpredictable manner. A Naruto would never give up, no matter how stacked the odds or how badly he was defeated, and if he did, he would never give up without a fight. He had a hunch that while things might be difficult on Earth New Prime, Naruto Uzumaki would be there to help. After that, Naruto focused on trying to discover a way back to Earth 2 via the multiversal superhighway. Given the tachyon barrier surrounding Earth 1, finding his way to Earth 2 was his best option. He'd be able to work at Earth 2's Star Labs alongside his parents' doppelgangers in Earth 2 Harrison Wells to discover out how to break through the tachyon barrier so he and Ronnie could return home. They'd sort it out between the four of them and Gideon, but first he had to figure out where he was in the multiverse. He kept sprinting and focused on his mission while he saw glimpses of other worlds. That's when he noticed the same white-suited speedster from before leap out into the multiversal highway and charge at him, but this time Naruto was prepared. The unknown speedster attempted to tackle him again, but Naruto grabbed his arms and headbutted him in the face. It knocked him back, and Naruto instead tackled him, knocking them out anywhere in the multiverse. Earth 295 Naruto and the unknown speedster plunged out of the gap, rolling on the ground before it closed. The two fell to the ground, but Naruto sprang to his feet, grabbed the unknown speedster by the chest, and hurled him. The velocity drove him flying into the air and slamming through a building's wall. Naruto took a quick peek around to see what world he was on, but he didn't need to because the smell of smoke and the alarm from his watch on the rise in radiation levels gave him a very decent sense of what happened to this one. He and the mysterious speedster arrived on a planet that appeared to have just experienced a nuclear disaster. Naruto could tell he was standing in what was remained of Manhattan since the sky was blood crimson and completely blocked out the sun. He recognized Manhattan because he could see the Empire State Building, or what was remained of it, in the distance. In addition, he came up several antique, destroyed subway stop signs for the Manhattan region. He saw an ancient news rack that was amazingly still standing despite being supported by several melted metal poles. A newspaper from October 1962 was found inside. Tensions rise as a result of the Cuban Missile Crisis, according to the headline. Nixon proposes a third world war. Given the title, Naruto could guess what happened on this planet. If Richard Nixon existed on this globe, he would have won the presidency against JFK, and the Cuban Missile Crisis would have escalated into World War III between the US and the USSR, culminating in nuclear warfare that would have entirely wiped all life on globe. Before he could ask any more inquiries about this planet, he dodged a ferocious assault from the side and threw his assailant to the ground. His assailant was the mystery speedster, and he immediately rose to his feet as the two exchanged stares. Naruto took note of the suit worn by the speedster who had just struck him twice. The dress was white with gold details on the sleeves, legs, and chest, as well as gold gloves. It had a lightning bolt on the chest, but without the circle that Barry's Flash outfit and Naruto's Impulse suit had. He wore a mask that covered his entire head and had two gold lightning bolts on his ears, no mouth opening, and black lenses in his eyes. The garment was plainly designed for a speedster to be friction and abrasion resistant, but its artistic design clearly conveyed that whoever this speedster was felt almost godlike. "You've tried to attack me twice and it hasn't gone your way. Try a third time and we're going to have a problem," Impulse threatened, vibrating his voice to further hide his identity. "There will be no third time," said the unknown speedster, vibrating his voice as well. "So, you speak. Who the hell are you?" Impulse inquired. "Someone like you. Someone who has been given incredible speed and has become a god. My name is Godspeed." Godspeed introduced himself. "I'd say it's a pleasure to meet you, but it's not. What do you want with me?" Impulse inquired as the two stalked around one another. "And your speed," Godspeed said. "Your speed is impressive. In the hands of a speedster deserving of it, it has the potential to truly change things for the better." "I think your definition of better is a little different than mine," Impulse observed. "But my speed is staying with me." "Then you've made your final mistake," Godspeed said as his body began to spark with white lightning. "Say that after you catch me." Impulse bolted, Godspeed close after him. Their two lightning tracks sped over the entire island of Manhattan, weaving and swerving through the remaining narrow streets and alleyways while avoiding the rotted and wrecked ruins of the city. Impulse was in the lead, but Godspeed was right on his tail and jumped ahead at several moments during the chase. When Godspeed was in the lead, he attempted but failed to box Impulse into a kill corner. Impulse was too fast and got creative with his sprinting, resulting in several clever escapes. He ran up the wall of the destroyed Chrysler building, and when he jumped from the destroyed skyscraper, he spun his arms at super speed to create wind funnels, allowing him to float through the air. Godspeed chased him down, and the two speedsters sailed through the air before Impulse touched down and started running. Godspeed landed soon after and pursued Impulse. The pair quickly took their sprinting over to the remnants of the George Washington Bridge, jumping the gaps on the half-wrecked bridge, and made their way into New Jersey. Godspeed accelerated and collided with Impulse, and the two began exchanging blows. Godspeed launched a barrage of haymakers, but Impulse blocked them all and retaliated with a swift punch to the side and then a jab to the face. Godspeed staggered but immediately recovered, parrying a punch to the stomach to throw a brutal right cross to the face of Impulse. He followed up with a gut punch, but Impulse grabbed his hand before kicking out his left leg and kneeing him across the face, then pulled him up and striking him with 24 chain punches to the chest. Godspeed quickly recovered from the final punch and headbutted Impulse in the face, all in the course of a few seconds. They collided with an old structure and tumbled through a foyer before landing in an old courtyard. Despite their injuries from the struggle and subsequent smash through the structure, they got back up and resumed jogging in circles. Both speedsters accelerated before stopping and hurling their lightning bolts. Godspeed used white lightning, and Impulse used red and white lightning. When the two lightning bolts collided, they created a massive boom and explosion of light that was blinding, similar to a camera flash that had been tweaked to go higher than its highest setting. The explosion knocked both speedsters off their feet and sent them flying until they were stopped. Godspeed collided with another structure, while Impulse swirled through the air before crashing to the earth. "Ah, that hurts," he grumbled in discomfort. He shook his head and got to his feet, where he cracked his back. It stung, but he ignored it because he was still in the heat of the struggle. Godspeed was fast, maybe as fast as he was, but their training was different. He could tell after their first meeting, but this second meeting only reaffirmed what he already knew. Godspeed was a fast, but he lacked Godspeed's hand-to-hand combat training. That meant he probably never had to combat a speedster or rely only on his speed for rapid, instant kills. He reasoned that it was most likely a combination of the two. Godspeed came out of the hole he dug and charged straight at Naruto, so Naruto decided to finish the fight before it stretched on, and he risked handing Godspeed the advantage. He began whirling around in place at breakneck speed, combining his lightning with a protective wind dome. Godspeed was caught off guard, and as he came into touch with the protective dome, the wind blew him back and the lightning electrocuted him. As Impulse's red and white lightning burst around his body, Godspeed was flung back and crashed on the ground. He tried to find his feet but eventually did and heard the distinct crackle of electrical sparks as well as a distinct buzzing. Those noises were caused by Impulse's attempt to reproduce something he witnessed on the Prime planet he had just visited. His own version of Prime Sasuke's lightning jutsu. He focused and concentrated his speed and lightning on his right hand, creating the illusion that he was holding a small crimson and white lightning cluster. The lightning gathered was brilliant and powerful, emitting a distinct electrical hum as compared to Sasuke's version, which sounded like birds chirping. Still, anything is possible. While still dazed and shocked from the lightning, Impulse rushed off running straight towards Godspeed and attacked. Godspeed was able to move his body at the last second, but it wasn't enough to spare him from the lightning-infused jab to his upper left shoulder. Arg! Godspeed screamed in agony as he clutched Impulse's arm, preventing his hand from piercing any farther. Impulse then took advantage of the situation by grabbing Godspeed and speeding away, tugging him while he concentrated and opened a breach into the multiverse. He yelled Godspeed into the breach, and it closed right after him. "And please let that be the last time I see him," Naruto said. Earth 95,482 Godspeed collapsed out onto the ground, holding his bleeding shoulder, as a breach opened onto an earth. He landed on his back, groaned in pain, and pulled himself up, pushing his hand against his shoulder to stop the blood. He looked around and realized he'd been tossed onto another planet, this one just as bleak as the last. This planet had gone through a second ice age, thus everything was coated in ice and snow, and it was extremely cold. Godspeed looked about and saw no one before looking down at his injured shoulder and shaking in rage. Rahhhhhh. Godspeed was the only person on the planet, but his cacophonous yelling could be heard for miles. He raged and vowed that Speedster would pay with his life for what he had done. He'd destroy him. Naruto is back. Naruto exhaled a sigh of relief as he wiped Godspeed's blood from his hand. Now that he could concentrate on getting to Earth 2, he continued his sprinting and ran through a breach. He concentrated on returning to Earth 2, thinking about his adventure and what other possibilities remained in the multiverse. The bigger concern would be what kind of possibilities he would have to deal with. Regardless of what occurred, this was an adventure he would never forget, therefore recording an audio diary could be a good idea. In the beginning, there was nothing, then came the Big Bang, and light was born into the universe, Naruto explained as the scene darkened. There was nothing to see because there was nothing to see. Light was born into the universe as a result of an explosion of energy. It spread into every nook and cranny of existence, and life was born, it spread, and soon gave birth to something greater. The light quickly spread, and creation was born. That light quickly transformed into stars, suns, and planets, but not just one. Hundreds of thousands, millions, billions, trillions, and much more. The multiverse. The universe began to multiply and replicate as if it were replicating itself, which it was. Every existence multiplied by possibility and spread out in infinite measure before space and time. Every decision, outcome, and possibility for all time. The blue-colored, ever-shifting and expanding multiverse tunnel appeared. Glimpses of numerous Earths in the multiverse were visible, each distinctive in its own way. Some had some similarities, while others couldn't be more dissimilar. Civilizations rose and fell. And rose again across reality's grasping expanse. Life, preserving in the face of every obstacle. One planet was shown to have never progressed past the dinosaurs, while another was a collapsing nuclear wasteland. Another depicted an Earth that had never progressed beyond the Stone Age, while another was so advanced that humanity had discarded their mortal bodies in exchange for an existence as pure energy. That's when Earth 1 from a year ago reappeared, with Barry Allen and Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, the Flash, and Impulse racing through the city together to keep it safe from bad men. Time then went on to depict the Flash and Impulse going through their own tribulations, encountering difficulties and metahumans before fighting their own inner demons. Reverse Flash with Orochimaru and Impulse with Orochimaru. The ultimate battle with Reverse Flash and his gamble with the wormhole to send him into the future, resulting in the formation of a black hole over Central City. The two speedsters did everything they could to contain the black hole, and with the help of Firestorm, they were able to collapse it before it could cause any further harm. Closing the black hole, however, had the unintended consequence of propelling Impulse and Ronnie Raymond through to Earth 2. The two were stranded on an alien planet, but with the help of some new pals who wore familiar faces, they were able to find their way around. Impulse was able to open a breach into the multiverse and begin the next leg of his adventure by increasing his speed. Good. Naruto arrived to Earth 38, where he became friends with Kara Danvers, aka Supergirl. Impulse assisted Supergirl and the Deo against a Helgramite, Kara's rogue Kryptonian aunt, and later Reactron while the duo raced throughout the city. Evil, Earth 21, where Naruto assisted the remaining remnants of humanity in surviving on Earth after a century in space. His talent and understanding enabled their camp, healing those in need, and his brilliant mind assisted in establishing peace between the people from the sky and the grounders against the dangerous gang staying in Mount Weather. Despite some inadequacies and his own limits, he was able to assist them. Life, Earth 28, where Naruto used his extraordinary intellect to assist Seattle medical examiner Liv Moore, who had been converted into a zombie. His brilliance enabled him to comprehend the virus, greatly accelerating research toward a treatment. While there was still work to be done, what he was able to accomplish gave Liv hope that she would be back to normal soon. It also offered him the opportunity to demonstrate that his brains was equally as crucial as his speed. Death, Earth 899, where Naruto was able to find an Earth that was the true incarnation of Game of Thrones, only to conclude his trip fighting an army of ice zombies and nearly being murdered by a White Walker. He did manage to kill it, but circumstances on that planet were deteriorating, so he would need to return and assist in any way he could. Why? Because he said he would. Heroes, Earth 29, where Naruto arrived on a planet with two brothers, Sam and Dean Winchester, who only did one thing. They were skilled at hunting monsters. Working with them also provided Naruto with much-needed supernatural knowledge, which he will put to good use in the future. Earth N52, where he encountered an animated version of previous heroes such as Superman, Batman, and the Flash, as well as new ones such as Green Lantern, Cyborg, and Shazam. He used them to defeat an alien ruler, save the world, and contribute to the formation of the Justice League. Earth 19999, the planet that inspired Marvel Comics and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He encountered and assisted Jessica Jones in her fight against the creepy and pitiful Kilgrave, assisted Agent Coulson in stopping some Hydra goons and finding his pals, and then assisted the Avengers in their fight against Hydra and preventing a rogue AI from taking over the Earth. He also received gold, vibranium, and PIM particle shrinking technology, so it was a fantastic time. Villains: Earth 17654, where Naruto wound up on a nightmare planet. Whereas on that planet, superheroes, or supes as they were known, were nothing more than high-paid reality TV superstars granted powers they didn't deserve. They did more harm than good and were more concerned with money and glory than with accomplishing what a hero should do. Unfortunately for them, Naruto received assistance from the CIA and a number of other like-minded individuals. Naruto used the boys to not only show the world what true superheroes were like, but also to put the supes in their place and ensure they would never injure anybody again. Plus, getting to outrun a train and humiliate the man-child Homelander was a bonus. And the strange Earth A29, a Warner Brothers created animated planet where he met the Animaniacs. Then he went to Earth A47 and A48, where he saw The Simpsons and Family Guy, respectively. Then there was Earth R17, which looked like a 1920s black and white Disney-era cartoon, and Earth R19, which looked like a 1970s cartoon Earth. Then he traveled to Earth H01, where he encountered an animated Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. They were amusing, and the world seemed more chaotic, comical, and aggressive than he was used to. Earth 89, where he encountered an old-looking Gotham City and a strange version of Batman in what appeared to be a rubber outfit. But it wasn't as strange as Earth 66, where it was a Batman and reality show from the 1960s. Furthermore, the Batman of that planet wore what appeared to be a cheap, TV-grade cotton batsuit, rather than the main symbol of evil and retribution with which he was familiar. And Naruto would forget about the other worlds he visited, such as the one with the grumpy vampires or the singing youths who appeared to be in their 20s. Although the one with Barry's look-alike singing was hilarious. It's out there. Every decision has an effect, and you won't know what you'll find until you go out and see it for yourself. Naruto closed his eyes and raced through the multiversal superhighway with one goal in mind, and he was nearly there. He accelerated to maximum speed, speeding past Earth after Earth until he arrived, then opening up a breach. Star Labs, Earth 2 Central City. Ronnie Raymond walked through Star Laboratories with a cup of coffee in his hand, making his way till he reached the breach room. That wasn't its official name, but it's what they dubbed it because that's where Naruto created his multiverse breach. It had been nearly 6 months since Naruto and Ronnie arrived on Earth 2 following the Singularity incident, and nearly 2 months since Naruto embarked on his breach test to discover a way back to Earth 1. Many of them expected him to return within a few hours, perhaps even a day, but he hadn't returned after 2 months. They could still monitor his vitals, indicating that he was alive, but they had no idea where he was or what he was doing. Ronnie entered the breach room to examine the monitor where Naruto's vitals were transmitted back to, and the data revealed a minor rise in his adrenaline, but otherwise he was alright. He heard footsteps behind him and it was Minato, Naruto's father's lookalike, who entered. "Anything?" he inquired. "A slight spike in his adrenaline. Looks like he got into another fight," Ronnie replied. "Well, hopefully that won't be an issue soon. I've been working on this for the past 2 months and I think I've finally got it ready," Minato said as he stepped over to the display and plugged in a table. It displayed a complicated tracking algorithm that incorporated quantum entanglement and theoretical asymmetrical symmetry. "I've finally figured out the math for a tracking program that should allow us to track Naruto to whatever Earth he is on the multiverse, as well as monitor his vitals and position." When a breach portal appeared in the room, Ronnie said, "Sounds good to me." Minato began activating the tracking program. Ronnie and Minato tensed as a red and white blur dashed out, closing the breach hole behind him. They recognized Naruto in his impulse suit. Naruto rose up and looked around, removing his mask as he realized he was in the breach room at Star Labs, where he also spotted Ronnie and his father. "I'm back, right?" he inquired, and everyone nodded. "Oh, Naruto, it's great to see you alive," Ronnie said, and the two exchanged a short hug. Minato then hugged and patted his son on the back. "Are you okay?" Minato inquired of Naruto. "I'm fine. I'm just glad to be back," Naruto said. "How long have I been gone?" 2 months. We were starting to worry about you," Ronnie explained. 2 months? Naruto inquired, his voice trembling. "Yeah, why?" Minato inquired as Naruto examined his watch, which had been keeping track of how long he had been traveling and read 8 months. I think my time frame is a little different than yours, he said. Naruto, what happened? Did you make it back to Earth 1? Ronnie inquired, and Naruto shrugged. No, I didn't. Things got complicated, Naruto stated emphatically. He had a fascinating story to tell them. The final chapter has come to an end. To be continued.
That's it for this podcast, guys. Thanks for listening to this video. I hope you did enjoy this part of the story, and if you did, like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you all for helping support, and have a great day.